everybody. So I just wanted to make you aware of an important market event that's coming up that I think a lot of newer traders miss, and that is the Russell rebalance. This is often one of the highest volume days of the year. When I worked for one of the big banks in the technology sector, this was one of the most important weeks for us. We were not allowed to make any changes to the environments that whole week, and everybody was all hands on deck to be able to handle any kind of technical difficulties that would occur. My team, because we had handled a lot of the risk control systems, we were doing work to figure out how much credit would be needed to carry out all of the trading operations that were going to be needed for that day. And I can't tell you all of those numbers, but let's just say they were really big numbers. This is a big deal, and it is often one of the highest volume trading days, weeks of the year. So, what are we talking about? Well, the Russell, if I can come to my desktop here, the Russell is an index. So we are more familiar with the S&P 500. I'm sure that a lot of my regulars will know what the Russell is, but for those of you that are new, the Russell 3000 is an index like the S&P 500, but instead of having only 500 stocks, it has 3,000 stocks. So this is a really broad array of companies. Well, something that will happen with an index is when a particular company does really, really well, it starts to take up a larger and larger portion of the index. So this is happening with the S&P 500 and Apple right now. It almost seems like that the S&P 500 will just follow where Apple is going because it's become such a large part of the index. So when that happens, in order to keep the index, kind of even, they will rebalance things so that, once or twice a year, they'll reset it so that all of the different stocks are an equal portion or equally weighted within the index. Another thing that happens is you will add or remove stocks from the index. And in the Russell's instance, this is a lot of companies. You can see here this list. It's like 3 pages of companies that are being added or removed from the index. So this is a big deal for some of these companies. If you get added to the Russell, that means that all of those index funds have to buy your shares. And if you're being removed, then they don't need to have your shares anymore. So those are companies that provide good trading opportunities. They're more likely to move up after they've been added to the Russell. So all of this rebalancing, and you've got large index funds making moves and things like that, creates a lot of trading activity. And so you're going to see different activity all this week. One of the things is that because there's so much trading and they don't necessarily want the markets to move while they're doing this stuff, you will often see a lot of volume, but range-bound trading, all right? But another thing is that if something bad does happen, something happens that really moves the market and it really, we have one of those high volatility days again, then you have all of these indexes and people panicking and trying to, get their shares before it's gone. And that can exacerbate the volatility, which, in this situation especially is a really big deal. All right. So I'll put the links down here in the video description, but there's some information on the Russell's website, the dates, the list. Like we already have a kind of a preliminary list of which companies are going to be added, but tomorrow we'll get a much more final list. And I would definitely keep an eye on those companies if you're going to be trading the stocks. That could be some short-term trading opportunities in some of those names. And then again, next Friday, the 26th, is the day that is like the last day, and that's when it's like finalized. So that is the day that is one of the biggest days of the year. So I will see you guys every morning from 8:20 to 10:30 Eastern time when I'm live streaming. I'll see you guys then. And in the meantime, stay profitable, friends.